California had passed new emission standards that were going to be going live for the entire state. This would be going into effect in 2035.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate came out just, what was it, yesterday or the day before, and has now overruled these new regulations that were going to be going into place. I had a quick thing here from NPR. This is actually shared I saw this on Threads from Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. She is the chair of the Progressive Caucus in the House with the Democrats. It says here that the Senate has overruled the guidance of the parliamentarian. We will get back to that in a second. A nonpartisan staffer who interprets Senate rules. This vote came down 51-44 to overturn a waiver allowing California to set its own air pollution standards for cars that are stricter than national standards. The Senate also voted to revoke 2 waivers related to heavy-duty trucks. One allowed California to mandate a zero-emissions truck, and the other permitted stricter emissions standards for diesel trucks. So here we have California trying to do what a lot of other states are doing, which is when they see like the federal government won't step up and do things that people around the country feel like we need to have. State pass its own laws, and now Republican-controlled Senate is trying to undo those laws. And they went as far, Natalie, to undo these by overruling the parliamentarian. And I'm sorry, I have to go into a little bit of a rant here.
Oh, it's a rant. It's a Friday night rant.
We had a huge discussion 4 years ago in 2021 when Biden was passing his, American Rescue Package. And, a part of this deal, he was trying to get the $15 an hour minimum wage put into this. But the Senate parliamentarian at the time, this was in March of 2021, said that you could not put the $15 an hour minimum wage in your bill. And Joe Biden decided, okay, you got me, putting my hands up here. I guess since you ruled that we can't do this, I guess no $15 an hour minimum wage. It's all over, folks. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. They ruled we can't do this. It's the end. The Republicans do not give a shit about the Senate parliamentarian. They said, to hell with you. We don't care what your ruling is. We're going to do what we want to do anyway. And Natalie, I am just so upset reading this story for multiple reasons, not just the climate change angle, because obviously we are talking about emission standards just being thrown out the wayside here by the Republican Party because they do not care about climate change. They've made that clear over and over and over again. But also, it's just thrown in your face time and time again how the Republicans are willing to break every single rule possible to make life worse for everyone. But the Democrats are not willing to bend a single rule to make life better for people. And that is what really got me going about this story. It was like, I just cannot get over the fact that time and time again, I just desperately want to see a party that's willing to work for us as hard as the Republicans are willing to work against us. Is that just too much to ask?
No, well, yes, I think. Unfortunately, in this, maybe 15 years ago, I'd have been like, no, but now I'm like, yeah, because once again, you and I are working from this place of, sorry, my light keeps going out. We are working from this place of assuming that the people in power, at least on the left, give a shit about people. But unfortunately, we actually don't have a working people's party in the United States. So why would you expect these corporatists, these moderate Republicans really, to care at all about what's going on the ground? And so this idea that they're going to like go to bat for us, the Democrats haven't gone to bat for us, I don't know, in 30 years. And I don't remember the last time really in my lifetime I really felt like the Democrats went to bat for the American people. And maybe that's just cynical, but I do think the reality is it's very clear who the Republicans work for, and we can identify their overlords, their billionaire class overlords. Who the hell do the Democrats work for? Like, who are they working for? Because they don't work for you and me. Just like this light is not working for me. It's a great metaphor for what's going on.
We're going to get Natalie a new light for the next live stream so that she does not have to continue to have this problem.
Become a paid subscriber to add to
the light fund so that Natalie can get a light that actually works for more than 30 seconds at a time.
I don't know what's going on, but we're just rolling with it, guys. It's Friday night.
Right. It's a 2-track story here because, I'm focusing on the part that I'm upset with the Democrats for, but this is also a Republican story.
Yeah.
We are seeing so many different issues around the country, around the world even, related to climate change, related to what is happening, because we won't change anything as far as emission standards are concerned. Or if we do, in the case of California, somebody else has to come through and strike them down. I mean,
yeah,
we do not seem to care enough as a country. Maybe some people do in certain pockets individually. Maybe you do, maybe your family does.
Right.
But collectively, we as a country have not been taking this seriously.
No.
We really haven't been. I mean, there is a pile of trash.
Yeah.
The size is actually twice the size of Texas floating in the Pacific Ocean. It is twice the size of Texas. It is floating in the Pacific Ocean right now. And it just keeps getting piled on and piled on day after day. And there's no end in sight. Like, the degree to which we do not take this seriously is astounding.
Yeah.
And it just really gets to me every time that I see something like this come down, because it would just not take that much of course correction to actually, truthfully, identify and to alter our habits and to our lifestyles in order so that we could actually, clean the climate better. I guess appropriate, I'll wear this shirt today, but it is really just disheartening to me, Natalie, that there are still so many people in this country who not only just deny what is happening, but they actively fight against any even small change that we are seeing.
Well, and I think it really goes back to the education and the lack of education and the misinformation that we see day in and day out in the propaganda. And that's why I do really think it's important to be supporting independent journalists in progressive spaces, because you guys, our commitment to this work is very clear. But we are just small but mighty voices over here. But it takes that amplification of counteracting these false narratives, counteracting this propaganda over and over and over again. And it's really, really challenging, because the powers that be, want to stay in power, and their power is completely wrapped up in fossil fuels, which has now mutated into single-use plastics for everything and everywhere.
Yeah.
And to your point, I watched this video on Netflix, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically about like our overconsumption. And yeah, you're right. We don't see it here, but in other parts of the world, they're literally drowning in it. They're drowning in our garbage, everyone's garbage. And so there really has to be this shift in consciousness. And I truly believe that shift comes through meaningful conversations, where sometimes you have uncomfortable conversations with each other about these issues, because there is not a silver bullet here that's going to fix this problem. But if the Republicans continue to do things like this and the Democrats refuse to push back, to me, both those parties are completely useless, no matter what side of the political coin you're on, because we can't eat money. So at the end of the day, I don't know what everybody thinks, how this is going to work if the air and the water are completely destroyed. If there's no more bees, I don't really know what they think is going to happen from that.
Yeah.
So we do kind of have to have this sort of come to Jesus moment about the climate crisis that I don't think the powers that be are interested in us having. So it's going to continue to get squashed. And I say this with authority, living in really what many people call the Saudi Arabia of the United States, which is known as Pennsylvania, because of the amount of fossil fuels that there are here and how much is exported here.
I was wondering where we were going with that.
Yeah, you never know.
Okay.
Who knows? But that's literally a nickname that we've been given, because we export so much crude oil and natural gas, and the fracking here is out of control. It's completely out of control. I've interviewed countless people about their health conditions, about the things that are happening to their children. The water is brown, the water is yellow. They're getting skin diseases, rashes. We're known as Cancer Alley right in my backyard, because the amount of children that have cancer, it's something like triple that of the national rate. And it's from the environment. It just is. And so there really needs to be a real reckoning here, and trying to talk to people just in the state house and the state senate. I mean, they talk about coal like it's still a viable industry.